Hey, good morning. Welcome to episode number 356. We are live, unless you're again watching it on a replay.
That's true.
That's what I have people tell me like, "Oh, I don't watch you when you guys are live, but I just try to catch it later." It's like, "Oh, we do it live at the time we do it live. It doesn't matter when we do it.
Right.
We leave the videos up on Facebook and YouTube so you guys can check it out. And if you're watching us on Facebook, go look for us on YouTube and follow us there. We're still trying to get to that 100. We've never really promoted it heavy, but it's something that once you get that way, you get some extra perks in that, and then once you hit 100, maybe we'll hit 1,000. Who knows?
And rewatch all our episodes. Our episodes are timeless.
Yes.
Also, if you go back to our episodes, you'll see how right we were.
Pretty much, yeah.
We were right on COVID. We were right on the DC universe and where that was going. We were right on the streaming networks and how that would turn out.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too is, you go back, you see all the ones when we were in the studio there, Echo Network. And we had set up a tablet just to record the YouTube stuff, along with we would do a live stream on Facebook at the same time.
Right.
It could be a separate camera for that. So I would have to take the camera, come home, and then upload the YouTube video because that was one way to get decent sound and video, make sure it didn't cop out. So at least now with StreamYard, we do much better and it's automatically there and I don't have to do anything. So
back in those old days before technology allowed us for this kind of thing.
Yeah. So real quick, let's get into your ad read and then we'll get going.
All right. Team Titans of Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. That's right. Even though we utilize the latest in tools and technologies to maximize your home buying and selling experience, we never forget, at its core, it's a people business. That's right. We actually treat you like a human being. It's crazy concept for business, but we do that. Our clients love us. We have a great, amazing return rate for past clients and referrals from them as well. So I'm putting our phone number there in the comments. 586-232-5144 is our Team Titan hotline. And, I forgot. I got to show you guys this. Here, I'll take that. 1 second. Let me grab this. And now for Team Titans, we've got our pop versions of ourselves, Funko Pops. We got Scott and Jill Webler Funko Pops.
There you go.
So Jay Brandt, if you're watching, we can sell these for $1 million to you because we know you have the insane collection going there. You don't have these on your shelf.
Probably not. So.
But Funko has a pop yourself thing where you can create your own. So I did those of Jill and I. Mine is holding a cell phone and Jill's is holding a little Dunkin' Donut Frappuccino. So a lot of fun there. So we try to have fun at Team Titans and enjoy what we do. So there you go.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I don't have any Funko Pops myself.
So I don't. I'm trying to think if I have any others, but I saw this and it was just too funny. Yeah. And you could get these collector cases sent with it, and you put your name on there. So it's good times.
Yeah, I haven't seen where you go do it. I've seen people post that had their own pops made and things like that. So
yeah,
it's kind of a neat thing.
It's a fun little thing. Just something for fun.
Yeah. But the only thing I've got is, I mentioned this last week, I forgot all about it, is our buddy Robert Kraus, started up a magazine a while back, and he's been publishing it. It's called Collector Zine, Pop Culture Collectibles Fanzine. And I was in issue 3.
Look at that.
Yeah.
When was that? Is that the new issue?
No, he's up to 6.
I didn't even know that came out with you.
Yeah, I got, when I saw him at Motor City, I went and talked to him. I was like, "Oh, you got some of those?" He goes, "Oh, did you get any?" I said, "No," because he forgot to send me a couple of my comps. So I bought a few extras.
Nice.
I may do something with, but I wanted to make sure I had a couple of them for my archives, stuff like that. But yeah, he sent a bunch of questions, so I went through and answered them. In fact, he's funny. He goes, "Yeah, you're like the fastest one," because he's like still waiting on some people to send them stuff. I was like, "Oh," he sent it to me. I was like, I was going to do it, knock it out real quick. Not sure when it's going to come out. So this came out a while ago, and cool. Good job. He's using our friends at Kablam for the printing, and then and the thing is that he's put it up on demand, so that way it's print on demand, so it's always available. It's kind of like harkens back to the old Wizard World days, of the
Right.
magazine, where he's going to spotlight people that don't normally get spotlighted, and I think it's a great thing he's doing there. So,
That
um,
is. That's
I'm not sure. I
awesome.
don't think he has it available online directly, but you can go to Kablam, the website, and probably find it through their Indie Planet. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. And then, they have to verify I'm a human. Yes, you are a human. So, but let's see. I'll get a link here real quick. Um, nope, didn't pull up anything. So we'll figure that out. We'll get that up sometime. I'll
Yeah.
figure out where they got it at. So, but I thought it was cool, and I've
Yeah.
known Bobby for, as I call him, for more than 20 years, probably
Mhm.
25 years or so. And he's a great dude. We've shared some space together when traveling.
Yeah.
We used to have a great time down at MegaCon. We'd get the condo, and a bunch of us would stay there. And Bobby and his brother Dave, Super Dave, were
Mhm.
always there with us. And Dave's a great guy. He's not traveling with Bobby anymore, but he seems to be doing very well. I talked to him about it, to Bobby the other day, and Super Dave was always a lot of fun. We ended up doing for a couple of years there. One night we'd go to the local rib place there
Mhm.
and Kissimmee and grab
Yeah.
some dinner with them, and just had a great time. And Bobby's just a great artist. He's been around for a long time. His Shakan character he created. He's done a bunch of books and different things like that. It also had a Sega Genesis official release way back in the day. So it was a video
Mhm.
game character and a few other of his created games, stuff like that. He's always doing something. So
Oh
definitely
yeah.
one of the greats out there. So if you get a
I
chance to see
always
him at
love
a show.
when I see him at on the show floor and I can catch up with him.
Oh yeah, great time,
So
great dude. So it was awesome seeing him there.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so that's what I had going on this week. I was talking to Scott yesterday. Watched a few things. We'll talk a few things. I think kind of definitely the overall topic today is going to be, what the hell's wrong with movies?
Yeah.
And
Right.
and part of it is this, and I'm going to share this line real quick here because we talk a lot Star Wars here, and this, I think, it says it all right here for the whole Daisy Ridley thing right now. It still looks as going on, but she said it right here. This is in the Hollywood Reporter, which I always say is definitely. Let me zoom in here. Uh, she's got a new movie that's being distributed right here. She talks about that she met together with the director Charmin Obaid Chinoy and Kathleen Kennedy about the movie they're calling Jedi Order, New Jedi Order. But it says right here, screenwriter Stephen Knight, she has not read actual words on paper,
Right.
but it's coming soon. I think right there just shows that that Kathleen Kennedy and them are still just blowing smoke up everybody's ass,
This
thinking there's made. I don't see
yeah.
this happening. I mean, if it does, I'm hoping that Filoni steps in and really takes over and says, "Look,
Well, so far we've not seen I don't think a single even comment from anyone higher up in Disney
yeah, it's just been those
or
three
any
people."
tho- just them three over and over again.
Yeah.
And I and it's always it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And I just really think this is Kathleen Kennedy trying desperately to save her vision of what Star Wars is supposed to be. And we have the competing vision of Filoni and Favreau, what they created.
Mhm.
And by all measurements, what they're doing is working. Any toy products that are related to their vision sell out and is doing well. Every single thing that comes out with the Kennedy vision, it's falling flat.
Mhm.
Um, I think really her last chance of her vision is the Acolyte because that falls under the High Republic, which was Kennedy's baby.
Mhm.
Um, we'll see what that does. That comes out what next week?
Yeah,
Um,
next Tuesday. So we may
yeah,
actually talk about it on Wednesday.
yeah,
And give a spoiler review because if it sucks, we want you to know. If it's good, I'll let you know too. But if it sucks,
yeah.
it doesn't. But I was looking up who this screenwriter guy is and see what I know of his. He's a British screenwriter. He's done a lot of different
Mhm.
TV shows, miniseries. Um, as a writer, he has 7 supposedly upcoming. So one, of course, is Star Wars: New Jedi Order. It says 2026 on it. It's they're on IMDb. They're saying it is in pre-production. But he did like Peaky Blinders, which is coming out. I know that was like a series at one time. Yeah, so he was a creator writer on that. So must be doing a movie. He did the screenplay for The Girl in the Spider's Web that came out in 2018, which was one of those American versions of the Swedish novels. Trying to see if there's anything that jumps out like, oh, this was like a great movie or something like that. And a lot of the stuff I don't recognize. It's a lot smaller. Looks like independent stuff, some TV stuff. I may have seen some of it here and there. But I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so why this guy then?
Right.
You know, that's been my thing is why would they go with this guy here? And the only thing I can think of is he's willing to do what Kathleen Kennedy wants. So
Well, it's not, and then you also have this Charmine.
Yeah, which we've talked about her before, and
Right.
she really has no credits. She has minimal credits, nothing to this elaborate, and it's like, okay, this is going to lead me into Atlas a little bit too. It's like you're going to bring in somebody that probably isn't. I mean, granted, anybody can have no credits and still write a good sci-fi. I'm not saying they can't, but if you've been writing all this other stuff or you go a different direction, it kind of falls into play of how we've seen things going. And if you see the movie Atlas on Netflix, it's a horribly crappily written movie.
Right.
And they went after trying to create this sci-fi film, and it's like they took everything they thought was cool. Okay, we like the Ripley character from Aliens, so we're going to kind of model her a little bit after that, and then we're also going to model her after someone else, and we want her to be this great action star, but we're going to do it on a way as almost a parody of the 80s, but make it sound like it's not a parody, but it still sounds crappy because the dialogue's horrible. It's things like that. And my really review on the Atlas movie is don't waste your time.
Right.
It's not worth 2 hours. And I like when I see the different posts. I've seen a couple of them saying, I actually liked it. What did you like about it? There's nothing they're saying they like about it.
Right.
It's all like, well, I actually kind of liked it. No, did you enjoy seeing Jennifer Lopez? Because you just adore Jennifer Lopez, and that's what you want. I personally thought, she's very crappy as an actress in this. The Simu Liu, he's doing this, and even as a villain, you just don't care. He's the villain, and Sterling K. Brown's in this. I liked him in a bunch of stuff. His character sucked, and some of the things they're doing, it's like they introduce these characters like this Sterling K. Brown and his Rangers, and they're all dismissing her. But her mom was the one that kind of created the AI, and she's always been the foremost expert on this AI. They don't want to deal with her on half the stuff and that. And then you get Mark Strong, who I like in a bunch of different movies and that. But again, when you got a crappy script, I don't care how good an actor you are, a crappy script comes through. And they just try to blind it with a lot of visuals. And realistically, the story was 2 hours. It really was an hour and 15 minute story tops. And everything else is filler, and you really just don't care by the end of it. I mean, I watched the whole thing, and my mom actually asked me, she goes, "Why'd you watch the whole thing if it sucks so bad?" I said, "I kind of just wanted to get through it to see where it ended, and then I could talk about it and say, yes, the whole thing sucked. It never redeemed itself." And then, now for someone that in the middle of the movie says she had never driven these, basically these mechs she's in, she's now an expert in leading the Rangers at the end of the movie.
Right. Well, and that's what they do is they, so many of these movies and things, it all comes back to, and Brett and I have said it over and over again, story. Why is this story? The first question you have to ask yourself as a writer is, why am I telling this story? What is the story, and then you build it around that. The problem with what they do now is it's agenda driven. Even like the Daisy Ridley Star Wars movie, this Charmine Obadiah, you look her up. Her main thing is, what comes up is she's a political activist known for her work in films that highlight gender inequality against women. That's what she's known for. So why are you hiring someone like that for a Star Wars product if that's all she cares about? You can work that into a story, yes, and make that part of a story. But if your only goal is, I need to show how bad things are against women, and I want to use a Star Wars franchise to be my vehicle, that's where the problems come in, because it's now propaganda instead of a story.
Yeah.
And then they write the story, and because there's no real background or history, there's no inspiration behind the actual story itself. It's just being used as a vehicle to say a statement. They create these shoehorned characters that have no, like with Jennifer Lopez. How is she a master mech driver all of a sudden? And for them, it's like, well, she's a woman, so of course she can do it. It's like, no, give her a backstory. Same with a man. If you have a male character, don't just say well, he's a male, therefore he can do it. No, give him a backstory.
I think, and that's the whole thing. Especially, I use that last as a prime example. Is she has to kind of force her way to go with them to this other planet where this AI had left almost 30 years prior, to track him down. They finally found where he was at, and they're going to track him down and kill him. Basically, they don't want to kill him. They want to capture him and then basically take his memory core and all that stuff and figure out how he was able to manipulate all the AI in the world. And that included all just regular working robots. Like they show it's like in the auto plants, things like that. Well, they explain it towards the end. I'm giving a spoiler on this because I don't want you to see this movie. I think it's crap. So I've saved you. It's Jennifer Lopez's character's fault, where she was a child, and her mother had developed this robot, the Simu character, and there's an earpiece they put in. They had started using it for AI connection, where you connect humans to the AI and stuff like that. Well, the AI tells her, so she's like, "Well, I have questions, or I want your help with something." And he's like, "Oh, well, you need to put this on, and then I can do that." As soon as she does it, he sucks out all her whatever memories, and he can read her brain or whatever, and then he becomes aware. He was already aware. They try to act like, she takes full blame for it, which is part of the problem, but the creature was already the AI was already aware, knowing what he needed to get from her to be able to be fully aware, and then he was able to manipulate all AI around the world to attack and kill humans. Terminator.
So the moral of the story is, if AI learns from a bitchy female, it will wipe out all.
Well, here's the thing: she was a child. So I'm not gonna say bitchy female. It was a child.
I'm talking about Jennifer Lopez.
No. Now and you're not funny because you're messing up with the stories, because I want people to make sure they don't see this movie. So it's right. It's not Jennifer Lopez. It was the child.
Well, I know.
And the child did that. And what they tried to say was that the AI is going to take over and everything else and can just suck all our memories out. Now, going forward as an adult, the Jennifer Lopez character was not a bitchy female because she was just stupid. She claimed to be this expert, and I'm sorry, but if you're stupid, you can't go out to out in space like that and do what she did, because she didn't know any of this stuff. She knew everything about this AI, of course, because she learned from her mother and everything else. But to go out in space and all of a sudden become, the Ripley character in Aliens at least, had some technical background as part of the initial ship. And when on the initial ship, she didn't become this great expert of everything when she fought off the alien. It really was, struggle and everything else. Going forward in Aliens, this was a couple of years past that, because of course they, freezing and all that stuff, and she gets in there, and even then she had done they showed her working construction, so she knew how to use the construction bot that she ended up using it, to get, and then
explained it,
and then and everything is still run by AI in this world that supposedly AI has been destroying. So why would you still do that? The premise of this movie, I think, was we're going to talk about how bad AI is, but then let you know at the end that we can redeem AI, because she becomes best friends with her mech named Smith. And again, it's just a horrible film. And in terms of that stuff, and I said, if you sit and watch 2 hours, you're fine. It's one of those movies that you'll never want to watch again. It's number one right now, and it's going to slowly go once people really start watching it, and it's going to die off.
Well, and we've talked about before how many times are we watching things, whether they're these streaming TV series or movies, where we're getting 20-30 minutes in and then we're abandoning them because they're just so bad.
And I almost did in this movie, but I kind of wanted to stick it out because there's all this praise of how it's a satisfying ending, all this other stuff, and no.
And I think what we're seeing is part of the side effect of the agenda-driven Hollywood is people. We've talked about this in the past at Comic-Cons for years.
Mm-hmm.
People come to us with their story ideas all the time. And 9 times out of the 10, the person doesn't have a story. They have a gimmick. They have a cool little idea, and they're like, I want to make a series based on this. It's like, okay, well, that's your gimmick. That's your, whatever. That's your hook. But what's the rest of the story? And then they go blank and they don't know. And with Hollywood, I feel like you're getting a lot of gimmicks pitched. And because the gimmick fits what they want, what checkbox they want to fill, they're pushing it forward.
Well, and a lot of this is nothing new really in Hollywood. If you go back and
Yeah.
look at movies, there's been a lot of this over the years. I think the most famous one right now that people have talked about a lot is the Kevin Smith Superman movie.
Oh
And
yeah.
I read his screenplay years ago because it was online for free. It may still be out there somewhere to find. And it wasn't bad. I mean,
It was
it
great.
was a rough draft that everybody's reading. There
Mhm.
was a chance that he had incorporated a lot of cool stuff, a lot from and it's all comic based.
Right.
But the problem was you had, as Kevin Lean liked to always call them, Johnny Hairdos,
Johnny
and
Hairdos.
it's
I
the
miss
guys,
Johnny Hairdo.
yeah, the guys up in the studios. It's all these studio execs that want to throw something creative and they want. And the guy at the time wanted a giant spider. He wanted Superman to take on a giant spider. So of course things got lost in the turnaround on this, and it never went anywhere with that Superman movie because they couldn't come to an agreement on a lot of things. DC was like, "Yeah, no, this ain't gonna happen." The studio's like, "Well, we want it to happen," and so they didn't have any control over that. So the giant spider ended up in the Will Smith Wild Wild West movie, which it still was stupid, but it made more sense than in a Superman movie. But there was a giant spider, and that's what you get going on now. Is these people come together and say, "Okay, we're going to do this movie here," and Jennifer Lopez is the producer of this. I guarantee, especially since she's gotten with Affleck, she goes, "I want to do an action film." She hasn't really done this type of action film. She's done dramas, she's done thrillers, got of comedies. And it was all like, I want to have all this cool stuff. And that's all it was. Here's all these cool little things I want to see in it. And then it's going to be pigeoned around this crappy little story that really had no real stuff. I mean, when you look at the deal with AI in the Terminator series, it made sense. They explained it. Here's what happened, and now he's gone back in time to try to change it. That was the initial premise. Terminator 2 was, it didn't stop it. It's still going to happen. Now it's happening later. And the John Connor character took one of the Terminators, reprogrammed him to send him back to protect himself.
Right.
There was stuff there. But, this whole thing of we have to go after this AI guy who can now control all this other stuff. Oh, by the way, he was, towards the end of the fight, out of nowhere, a sword comes sliding out of his arm. So he's got a built-in sword now. And of course, he built this whole city there, and they were building all kinds of basically bombs and everything else on this planet. It's just the whole thing was just ridiculous on so many levels.
Mhm.
And that's part of the problem is these crappy stories want all these little bits. It's like I even tried to watch that Brooke Shields Mother of the Bride movie on Netflix. That one I got barely, not even 20 minutes in, and I shut that off. Wasn't funny, trying to be funny, didn't care about the characters. The premise is stupid. Everybody felt like they were just kind of sloughing off the way their characters were, like playing their characters. Like, God, you guys, it feels like you guys are just goofing off and don't really care, because nothing, you really don't like any of them. I mean, it's not that they're horrible people. It's just like, they just all sound ridiculous. Why would you even want to care to watch these people? So
Yeah.
that's what I've seen
Yeah.
on those two things this week.
Well, and I think that's also, the Johnny Hairdo thing that just falls in line with the DC universe that is now dead. I feel like Warner Bros. Every time they stuck their finger in the pot, they put in the stuff they wanted to see. It becomes glorified fan fiction. Over and over again, these people, they don't respect the franchise and the history and the fan base that loves it.
Right.
They hijack it, make it their own thing, and then they sit there and wonder why no one liked it. And I really think the number one, for me, my big lesson in this was the Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie.
Yes.
If they never called it Godzilla, I think that movie would have been huge. I think it would have done great. It was a fine movie. It was a great monster movie. But the problem is they labeled it Godzilla.
Yeah, and nothing about it felt like Godzilla.
And it didn't feel like Godzilla. Had they just done it as an independent movie and did everything exactly the same, I think it would have been a big movie.
It might have been, yeah. I mean, that would have been something to see. So,
but they took the Godzilla franchise, labeled it that, and then everyone goes to see a Godzilla movie and it's like, that's not Godzilla. Respect the franchise or do your own thing, one or the other.
Well, that's what I think is you got to do your own thing. I will say one thing about the Jennifer Lopez. It wasn't based on existing franchise. They took all these basic things from other sci-fi stuff that they liked and then created this whole
and probably written by too.
The two people I read, one I didn't really see much of. The other one had a bunch of other stuff. He wrote a couple of Discovery episodes, things like that. I think it looked like, it was like, okay, write this story, here you go, and then someone else going, okay, I'll just redo it.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But it's like you mentioned like the Godzilla film. If they'd done like Cloverfield, not the way Cloverfield was shot and everything else.
Right.
Cloverfield was about a giant monster attacking a
Right.
city. You can do it. You don't have to call it Godzilla.
You don't have to. Right. Like, what's the point if you're going to take whenever you go into any franchise, whether it's food, movies, whatever, there is something that is the core essence of what that franchise is. What's the point in paying all the money for a franchise if you're just going to change it all? Right. The point of getting a franchise is you're buying into the product and you're going to replicate what that product is for the people who like that product.
Yeah, I talked about this in the restaurants industry too. It's like we used to have this great restaurant we loved, and it's long gone. But when the people that owned it sold it, they immediately started changing everything.
Right.
And it was everything people liked. So people stopped going. It's like, it's like whenever you buy, so it's like when someone buys, because your house won't get too much in this part. Someone buys a house for things they like, and you expect some changes, but then you show up and it's like, oh, this was such a great looking place, and they no longer keep the lawn manicure, they no longer do this. The place starts looking like dilapidated. It's like, why would you buy a house just to let it fall apart? And same thing with these movies franchises. Why would you get into a franchise just to destroy it? Now, of course, we have seen several people say they wanted to get into these franchises to destroy them. That is their ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And they want to flip everything on its up end. They want to make all the 40-plus-year-old men mad, and they want to do this or that. And we've heard that, and within the Star Wars and Marvel,
the Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Waititi leading up to it was doing posts. I'm going to destroy your heroes, and it's like, why do it then?
Yeah.
But, like, I don't get it. And they're so willing to do this with other people's money. They're taking the studio money to do their own private agenda. But for some reason, like, I guess I'm confused. Like, why do the studios keep hiring these people? Like, look at their box office totals. Look at Furiosa this weekend.
Yes.
Horrid. They spent 168 million on a film that took in 30?
Yeah, it's not even hit 100 million worldwide. I think it did about the same. It did 30 million here, almost 40 million in the rest of the world. And that was 168 million. It was just production costs. That's not even the marketing costs.
Right. So you're probably at 400 million for their break even.
Yeah.
If you throw that in. And so it's like, but they're going to keep hiring these people and they're going to keep pushing out crap. It's like, why?
And that's problem is, I think it's what they're doing. It's like they're killing the box office. They're releasing these movies in the theater, and then it's not even 2 weeks later. You can video on demand stream them. So I mean,
Fall Guys already.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks later. It was like that. Furiosa, I'm sure in another week will be available on video on demand. And if you want to pay, and again, but if you look at it though, it's like, do you want to pay $25 at home to watch this movie, or go see it? And if there's a lot of people say, well, I just want to go to the theaters anymore. I mean, there's still people walking around, afraid of the world, so they don't want to go anywhere where a crowd might be. But at the same time, it's like, if you can't go spend $5, $6 on a discount ticket Tuesday, why would you spend $25 at home to rent it for 24 hours?
Right.
To me, and the thing is, so it's the theater going experience is what makes it worthwhile. It's like reading about the guy that co-starred in Maverick. He was the one that ended up kind of saving them at the end.
Glenn Powell?
Yeah, I think
is that his name?
I believe so. Let me when he
I don't know how I know that.
Yeah.
Well, I usually am horrible. Yep, that's Glenn Powell. I cannot believe I got that right.
So he's
does he look like Scott Eastwood? Is it Scott Eastwood?
Yeah, he looks a bit like an Eastwood. He looks like the guy starring in Tracker right now.
Yeah.
A few other things. So here's what he had to say recently. I didn't get the exact quote, so I am paraphrasing here. But basically, he was, when they shot Maverick, it was supposed to come out in the summer of 2020.
Right.
Well, he was broke. So he was, no money coming in, stuff like that. And of course, he wasn't going to he was going to get paid after it came out. And of course, I think it was something like that. But I think it's also more of nothing was coming out he was in, so nobody knew who he was.
Right.
Per se, even though he had done some things already. This was going to be his big big
Yeah, he
break.
was counting on Maverick to open up new doors for new roles.
Right. And because he'd done just a few things before that and had done little things here, episodes, whatever. Nothing that popped him out. He's done a little bit more since then, but even now he's still not. I saw him in that Anyone But You, which is another one of those stream movies, and that kind of sucked too. So, um, but he was basically mad it didn't go streaming. And I'm like, no, as Tom Cruise says, he makes movies for the big screen.
Right.
And I can tell you this: if you make a movie designed to entertain the audience, like Maverick did, and people can criticize all they want, the movie was entertaining. It was exactly what it should be. You go to the movies, you get entertained. It wasn't agenda driven. Wasn't trying to incorporate the things they incorporated. Were all the new pilot stuff, and it was telling the story they wanted to tell based on the characters that they already had control of. So they weren't going into a franchise trying to destroy it. But it's like you can't create a movie and say, well, it can go either way. You should create it one way or the other, really. And like Atlas, if it got released in the theaters, I definitely, if I saw a trailer, I would be like, nah, I'm not going to see that garbage because it looked like garbage in the trailer.
Yeah.
The reason I watch it is you start seeing people, oh, it's really good. It's actually better. No, it's not. And I think most of that's just fake AI bots trying to say, go watch the AI movie. We're in it.
Well, and him, I mean, I'm shocked that Spy Kids 3 Game Over did not get him worldwide fame as the long fingered boy, but back in 2003. But a movie like Maverick, had it been originally created with the intention of streaming,
Yeah.
that experience, that film would have been made the way it was made.
He
wouldn't have had the fame from it that he did get.
Yeah, and I saw that Maverick twice in the
It was amazing.
theater, and both times it was great because you got the sound was right, the visuals were right, you got drawn in. We talked a little bit afterwards. They basically did the Death Star trench run for the thing, which was fun because it was, but it was at the same time what they had to do. You had everything with it. Then when you thought it was over, they did a little twist at the end of Maverick with, well, he crashes. It's like, okay, and the other one crashes too, and so they have to escape enemy territory. And then when they found and then they were able to incorporate the F-14 Tomcat, which made sense because those are still used by some of those countries over there. They're basically held together.
It was a great way to tie in the nostalgia of the original.
Yeah, so it tied that in, and then then one guy got to come back and save him, who was always.
But had this been done originally for straight to streaming, they would have used all green screen. It wouldn't have been done in real jets. You wouldn't have had that feeling of the pilots doing the turns.
If they had bought into at the time with the COVID, well, just release it streaming so everybody can see it now. Someone streaming will pay you the money for it, but it's like, no, it's and when you went and saw this in the theater, Tom Cruise beginning said, hey, I'm so glad you're here in the theater to see this. This is why we did this. This is why you're here. And then it was a whole thing leading up to it. I went to the preview night and I went to see it again a couple weeks later, and well worth of both times. And that's the experience I've been looking for in the movies lately and have not been finding.
It's not happening. They're making dull crap.
Yeah.
And so the stuff they're on a sandwich and saying, no, it's really a club sandwich.
Yeah,
like,
and
no, it's not.
praising. I'm going, it's the stuff they're praising. It's like, no, this is not fun. And I don't get me wrong. I've talked to this many times. I've got a bunch of them all here. I like my cheesy movies, like some of the 80s stuff that is not necessarily great cinema, but I also like great cinema. I like going to enjoy stuff. And there's a place for all this stuff there. But going to the movies is part of the thing. It's like when I saw Dune, seeing Dune Part 2 this year. Is one of the best movie going experiences I had this year because I really enjoyed it. It's meant to be seen on the big screen, the scope and everything else. You can have as big a TV you want in your house. There's just something about that giant screen in the movie theater. Mm-hmm. And of course, when you have enough people in the theater watching with you, that shared experience.
Yeah. And also the shared experience of Maverick was so good. They're doing another one. It was confirmed a couple months ago.
Okay.
That there is a third one coming. So,
well, and that, they can do a lot of stuff with it. They had introduced, the Miles Teller character, you've got Glenn Powell. They could do something with them more. Maverick, Tom Cruise could be in it, but not necessarily in the role. Well, he still play Maverick, but not out there flying. He could be an instructor if he wanted to. But I like the fact that they kind of gave him it gave him something kind of a good ending in that. So,
yeah.
In that, but it's not something they can't still go and revisit. So.
Although now, with the way Hollywood is and the way Maverick was, in that movie. It could be they just have Maverick take on a large asteroid and stop it from hitting the Earth and recreate the Bruce Willis movie.
Well, and that might be what they want, who knows? I doubt that. Tom Cruise, I will say this, you can see what you want about him as a person. If you don't agree with his life story, which a lot of people don't, but it's when it comes to his movies, he actually wants to do good movies. He's got the old school movie idea of, I do grand movies, but I want them to be engaging. I want them to be in here. I'm not looking to. Yeah. He will do parody stuff, but his movies are one thing. When he does the parody stuff, it's not his movie. Because go watch Tropic Thunder. He was brilliant in Tropic Thunder.
Oh yeah,
and he really made that movie. He's done some other stuff over the years here and there that have been really good. But when it comes to these bigger, grandiose things, his Mission Impossibles, this now Mavericks and things like that, he's not gonna. He's not gonna do a crappy remake of somebody else's movie and put his own character in it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about Tom Cruise is a lot of actors act for a profession, but they don't watch movies.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, I've seen in interviews, he watches like a movie a night. Like he's a huge film fan. Like he's always watching movies and all the new releases. He's always going to watch new films that come out, and he's always watching old films over again. So he's like us. He's a film fan.
Yeah. There's two things Tom Cruise knows. He knows movies. He goes and studies movies, and he understands the history of psychology.
He's kind of backed off on that part, though.
A little bit, yeah. But it's stuff like that. He understands movies, and he understands the making. And you go back to interviews, you've seen over the years, the last 40 plus years of his career, and he's talked about wanting to learn how to do movies, stuff like that. And you read different things. Like I saw something about the movie Taps that he was in as one of his first major movies, and they were going to do a 40-day thing with all the actors. He did like a day or something. Said, "No, this isn't. I'm going to go and wait." And he put himself in a hotel and waited until they start filming. But he was still brilliant in the role because he understood the role. He didn't need to be hanging out with the actual kids that they were going to be trying to portray. Like he went and saw, okay, this was you. Okay, I got it. I'm good. And he goes, do it. He probably went back for 40 days and watched all those old military movies. I'm guaranteed that's what he did. And that was back in the 80s when it wasn't easy to go to a video store. He probably was like, okay, you can pop on a local TV channel and they were showing old movies and everything. He would watch all that. Right. And it made sense for his character, for the type of character he was.
Yeah. So regarding Hollywood, what's the fix? I don't know if they can go back, but it's really getting back to.
I think the fix is
finding stories.
Is people need to tell good stories, and there's I got 2 trailers we can show I think look good.
Yeah.
And then the first one is the George Clooney, Brad Pitt movie Wolves. That's what I'm gonna pop up here now. That's the first time I heard about this. I saw it on the I
feel like it's been a while since we saw actually either of them.
Yeah, I think they've popped up in different things here and there over the last couple of years. They're not doing tons of movies because they don't need to. But these are people that, it's like this harkens back to the Oceans movies. Yeah. They did the Oceans movies to have fun and hang out with their pals. I mean, they were going to make some money, but nobody was walking in making a $20 million paycheck just for showing up.
Yeah,
they all made it on the back end. That's what it feels like with this one here. So let me run this here and see what you think.
How did you get this number?
I was told that if I ever needed help, to call you. You're a man who can fix things. I didn't know people like you really existed.
They don't. There's nobody can do what I do.
Who are you?
I'm here to take care of your problem. Who called you?
We clearly have a situation here. We have decided that the only course of action is for you both to work together.
No. It's not how I work. This is not how I work.
Yeah.
Oh. It's a different thing now. It's gonna be a long night. Where'd you get the drugs? I don't know what you're talking about.
Where did you get the drugs? Talk. There's an art to this you may not realize. But they're just saying the same thing over and over. Let's see your technique. I showed you my luggage cart trick. Admit it. Yes, cool. Okay, fine. It was very cool.
Where'd you get the drugs?
How long have you been partners? You got like the same clothes, kind of talk the same.
So,
Like basically the same guy. We're not partners.
For what is a man? What has he got?
there are people out there who, if they suspected I knew what he knew, I knew what he knew, they would have us all killed immediately.
What?
I faced it all, and I stood tall.
Stop him!
So you secret partners?
We're not secret partners.
It looks fun.
I think
like
it does.
It
Yeah.
looks good. That's an example. I mean, we'll see what it is in real life, but looks like just a fun movie. You know.
Well, and that's the whole thing. If you go, you can have all these movies that you want to make a movie that has these great messages. Fine, nobody's gonna go see them. It's been proven in history. You might win some Academy Awards, get the accolades of a few people, and that's it. But if you want people to go see a movie, it's got to be fun. You got to have a reason to want to go see it. And this one looks like fun. It's definitely harkens to a little Tarantino-esque. It's definitely got with the music and everything else, it's got a very big Ocean's movie type feel to it.
Yeah, it's weird about it. The age difference between Clooney and Brad Pitt is only 3 years, but it looks like they could be playing father and son there.
Yeah, Clooney's very, very gray in this, and then
Yeah.
and Pitt's not, but yeah, they're pretty close in age, and in real life they're actually best friends, so I think they play off well. In
Yeah,
movies.
Pitt's 60 years old now.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
So and that, but it looks like fun. It doesn't look, other than just go enjoy a good movie. It's just like the John Wick films.
Mhm.
When you're talking action films, stuff like that. But the problem is you want a gimmick, you just have to have a story that goes around the gimmick. And the gimmick of this is what happens when you got two basically cleaners. And I think it's funny they call them wolves. And the reason I mentioned Tarantino is in Pulp Fiction, to clean up the dead kid in the back, they had to call in the wolf. So the wolf is the character that comes and cleans.
Who is making this movie?
Let me see here.
Wolves.
I saw the name pop up real quick that wrote and directed it. It was John Watts is the writer director.
John Watts. Okay.
Yeah. So let me see what he's done here. Oh, he worked on Spider-Man. Okay, so as a director, he did the Old Man TV series, Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man Homecoming. So he directed all those. Cop Car, he did a bunch of Onion stuff. As a writer, he wrote the Spider-Man Homecoming,
Nice.
Cop Car, movie called Clown. So he's had some stuff back then. His biggest stuff is the Spider-Man stuff on that.
All right, nice.
So he's been around a little bit. Upcoming. Let's see, he's got Wolves. Oh, he's working as a director on Skeleton Crew too for one episode.
Nice.
And then he's in pre-production for the new Spider-Man movie if they're ever going to do that. So
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, it looks fun to me. Brad Pitt and George Clooney always seem to work well together. Whatever they do, they got that on-screen chemistry.
Yeah.
So,
I think it looks like fun. And again, it's when you see a lot of these trailers and where you look and go, oh, that looks stupid. That looks stupid. I was like, oh wow, this actually looks pretty fun.
mm-hmm.
So, and of course, with Brad Pitt, everybody wants to be Brad Pitt. So. Bowling for soup.
After school special, did a race with Ricky Schroeder and Dan Thelma and Louise. been the same without him. Always eating in the Ocean's movies, criticized for his accent and Snatch, and then he won an Oscar for beating up Bruce Lee. Oh, I wanna be Brad Pitt. I wanna be Brad Pitt. Wants to be Brad Pitt. I wanna be Brad Pitt. Wanna be Brad Pitt. It would be the shit.
What?
Be Brad He was born in Shawnee, Oklahoma. So was my mom. I wonder if she knew his mom or his dad. Maybe we're half brothers. You'll see us play live. Maybe watch football. Naked pictures with Gwyneth Paltrow. In the tabloids with Jennifer Aniston, and then blah 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 blah. Angelina Jolie. I still wanna be. I wanna be Brad Pitt. I wanna be Brad Pitt. I'll bet even Brad Pitt wants to be Brad Pitt. I wanna be Brad Pitt. Wanna be Brad Pitt. It would be the shit if I could be Brad Pitt. I wanna be Brad Pitt. I wanna be Brad Pitt. I'll bet even Brad Pitt wants to be Brad Pitt. I wanna be Brad Pitt. Wanna be Brad Pitt. It would be the shit if I could be Brad Pitt. Welcome to Fight Club. What's in the box?
I got his whole history in the song.
Yeah.
Don't talk about Fight Club. I wanna be Brad Pitt. I wanna be Brad Pitt. I bet even Brad Pitt wants to be Brad Pitt. I wanna be Brad Pitt. Wanna be Brad Pitt. It would be the shit if I could be Brad Pitt. I wanna be Brad Pitt.
It's kind of old, isn't it?
That's funny.
Yeah, as Bowling for Soup, that's one of my favorite bands, and they do some
Yep.
stuff like that. Of course, a lot of people don't know them. They do the theme song for Phineas and Ferb, and they were actually animated in one of the episodes, which is kind of cool. So,
That is cool.
but yes, I mean it's Brad Pitt. You know, you get it. I think the thing is that he probably makes fun of himself more than anybody else. So
Yeah.
he's like, whatever, I got hundreds of millions, I'm good.
Right.
So the other movie I think looks good coming out. We've talked already Deadpool, which I think looks great. We've shown that in July, but coming out in September is this little gem.
Here's a preview. Be warned, it's intense.
Can't believe Grandpa's dead.
Death is hard.
Yeah, sometimes I think life is harder.
When I was a teenager, a trickster demon terrorized our entire family. He tried to force me to marry him. I believed he was gone forever until you found this in the attic.
Ew. Who's Beetlejuice?
Don't ever say that name.
Beetlejuice.
No, Astrid, I am serious. If you say his name 3 times, he will appear.
Beetlejuice.
The juice is loose. I'm gonna make you so happy.
The living. The dead. Can they coexist? That's what we're here to find out.
Where's Beetlejuice?
Where's Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuice.
Feel free to express yourselves. Don't be afraid.
You're a figment of my imagination.
Really? Is this a figment of your imagination?
Very cool. Oh, you are now in chipmunk mode, Brett. Brett's got to reset. Sometimes his audio will switch to a high-pitched chipmunk mode. Let's see if he can get it fixed. I must have changed his microphone setting going into that. But anyways, that was Beetlejuice. Oh, there's Brett.
Well,
now your voice is proper but delayed.
Okay. Well,
there's like a 1 second delay between your lips and your audio.
Well, next we will be talking about.
We're almost like you're anyways. A dubbed film.
Yes.
Yeah, we're
it could be just on your end. On my end, it looks just fine.
Does it? Okay. Yeah, we'll see. But good enough. Like you said, we're near the end, anyways. Yeah. But yeah, the Beetlejuice looks fun. Based on the trailer, it looks like it's going to be a good sequel.
I like that when they showed the worm, that it's actually they did like a claymation style like they did in the original one. So keep it some of that aspect. And of course, the world we'll see expanded will be the dead world, which looks a lot of fun. And I mean, we don't even know the full premise of everything. We kind of get an idea from the trailer, but real excited for this. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And and again, it's someone taking their existing characters and they're working with them and not, just handing them off saying, "Oh, do whatever you want." Or someone says, "I have an idea for Beetlejuice."
Right.
And they completely just upend it and destroy everything that was Beetlejuice. So,
yeah. Here's the sad thing about it, though. That movie comes out when? September?
Yes.
Like, we bypassed all of summer for good movies coming out. Like, there's not much.
They're blaming the strikes as why we're not seeing much.
But they should have had a whole bunch from the big delay from COVID that was like in the works.
Well, they have a few. I mean, they have a new Bad Boys coming out, which I'm not even showing the trailer because it just looks stupid. Yeah. And I was like, okay, the last one was okay. It was fine. You brought it back. I don't need another last one.
Right.
I was like, okay, this just doesn't look good.
Well,
and then you've got the Twisters movie coming out. That looks horrible too.
Yeah. But even the last Bad Boys, it was Martin Lawrence who carried it. Martin Lawrence was the only good thing. Will Smith wasn't that great. Then you factor in Will Smith's blowout this last year or whatever that was.
2 years ago now, I think.
2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to see Will Smith anymore? Like, I don't know.
I think the reason he did they're doing the Bad Boys film is because he needs something to come out that was away from him trying to get an Oscar. The problem is that that's all he was doing is these movies trying to get an Oscar. And that's where he's trying. And watch these films, they were just not good films. Right. They were just kind of blah. And he's like, I'm just trying to win. So he won for the last one. And I think he won for that. Wasn't the Williams sister tennis movie? He played the dad. I think that's what he won for.
Yeah, I think so.
And it was kind of given to him because there's nothing much else coming out. So,
well, actually, isn't that what he won for the night he slapped Chris?
Yeah, that's what it was. And now he's banned from the Oscars for at least 10 years.
Yeah, but he can still win. I think he just can't be there.
No, I don't think he can. I don't think he can be nominated either. I think.
Oh, really?
I think that was part of the deal. Was you'll have nothing to do with any of it. But you look at stuff like that. It's like and different things coming out. Like stuff I'm looking forward to is not all the theatricals. I'm surprised though. Like the the Eddie Murphy movie coming out. Axel Foley. Yeah, that actually looks good, but it's not a theatrical release. It's going right to Netflix.
Right.
That actually could have came out. They'll probably do a limited release of it, but it won't be necessarily everywhere. So,
but we're entering the time where every weekend should be a massive release. Like right now, we have Watchers coming out, which it's an M. Night film. It looks interesting to me, but his films aren't like blockbusters.
Well, I think that's someone else's. It's his, but it's also it's a Shyamalan is the director of this.
Oh, it's not him.
Right. And
daughter. It's his daughter. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So, and I think part of it too is he's gotten so much flack over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think he's producing it but no, it's a Shauna Shyamalan. I like the trailer for it. Actually, doesn't look bad.
Right.
It'd be interesting to see what she does on this. It stars Dakota Fanning. Should be pretty good. So it's but yeah,
But
it's
I feel like Hollywood's slashing their marketing budget because, like, I've barely seen any ads for this. I've seen a little bit, but not much.
no, I
Things-
saw some watching baseball. They had a few more the other day. We were watching baseball. I saw a few more, but
Yeah, Inside Out 2 coming out, which you're about to see.
yeah, I'll go see that in the theater. I like the first
Mhm.
one. The trailer for the second one looked pretty good. I enjoy a good movie, and this is the first Pixar movie in a while to really get a good release that's I think looks good, because the last few have just been kind of It's like
Yeah.
Soul. I would have loved Soul if it was more about the actual jazz than just the his basically soul flying around. And I was like, that could have been a really good jazz film,
Right.
and there's some decent music in that. I did see the trailer today, and they had the actors on for this movie called Ezra. And the kid that stars in it, William Fitzgerald, is actually autistic. It's his first time acting outside of a community theater thing. Robert De Niro's in it. The guy that plays his father is Bobby Cannavale. And Bobby Cannavale can be hit or miss, but he's done a couple things decent over the years. He's a good stand-up comedian. He's been trying to do more in the movies, and this looks pretty good. It's got it's just a typical, father-son story. He's a single dad, stuff like that. And the trailer looked pretty good. It looks like it's got some comedy in there. Again, not gonna be great, but it looks good. I'm surprised it's actually coming out. Let me see here. There's some movie called Summer Camp with Diane Keaton, Kathy Bates,
Yeah.
Alfred Wooders, Child Friends Meet at a Camp Reunion. That's been done before a bunch of times.
I'm going through the list for the whole song. Almost nothing pops out. There's only a couple.
Yeah.
Oh, M. Night does have one coming out called Trap. That's right.
Okay.
That one looks interesting from the trailer. The twist is interesting. But with M. Night, usually he doesn't reveal his twist in the trailer. So I'm wondering if the trailer's twist is misleading.
Could
Because
be.
usually he keeps that a secret.
Yeah. But yeah, like the Bad Boys Ride or Die, it's coming out in theaters. And it says here on the write up, I'm looking at this page, it's Will Smith's first major movie since slapping Chris Rock. I mean, they have to put it out there since he slapped Chris Rock. It's like, so I think, he like, basically, I know this. I bet you the day after, Martin Lawrence called up Will and said, hey, we should do another movie because your career just took a tank.
And I am now more popular than you.
And Martin Lawrence is coming out with a new stand-up special as well. So he's coming out of whatever crap he's always gone through the last several years. I'm looking at some of the stuff. There's this movie called I Used to Be Funny. I don't know who Rachel Sennett is, but she's playing an aspiring stand-up comic. There's been a ton of those aspiring stand-up comic movies. I'm looking at the AP News too.
Here's the trailer for Aliens Romulus. I haven't seen this yet. Have you?
No, pop that up.
Okay, let's see here. Let me put that up. This is on the Rotten Tomatoes site. Okay, and it's saying it's coming out August 16th. So let's see how this is.
Okay.
Run.
All right, so they're going back to the original Alien for that story.
Feels like more like the roots of Alien. Yeah. Looks good. We'll see how it is.
Yeah. I did see there's
I've
a
not
trailer
been
out there.
thrilled with the Prometheus stuff.
No,
that they've done,
it's
so hopefully it's
no.
good.
Last one I think I saw was the one that you and Kevin and I went and saw over at the Imagine there before Motor City, and that's been what 5-6 years ago now. So
Oh yeah. That's so bad.
yeah. There is a movie called The Bike Raiders coming out that doesn't look bad. It's gonna be in theaters. It's Focus Features. It's about a motorcycle club in the 60s.
But that
Tom
won't
Hardy's
be a
in it.
blockbuster.
No, it's not. But it
No.
doesn't look bad. It actually looks decent.
No, right. Just
And it's
but
from
regarding
Gideon.
our topic of Hollywood, with summer, the numbers are going to be so down this year.
Well, yeah, and that's what it is. I'm looking at this going, okay, this is not going to be a bad movie, but they're not going to promote it even if it's good because it's not fit what they want.
Right.
But it stars Austin Butler, Tom Hardy. I mean, this is something that you got decent guys in it that are, especially Austin Butler's kind of coming up more because of the Elvis movie, but they could promote that more. That could actually do better if they actually promoted it better, but they're not going to promote it. It's gonna lightly get any traction there.
Yeah. We got The Crow 2 coming out, and
I don't like everything I've seen. I haven't seen anything good on that either. So
I know it's not looking good.
Yeah. They have The Quiet Place Day 1 coming out, but do we need a prequel to the two movies? I mean,
which is just a expanded version of the opening 5 minutes of the Quiet Place movie.
Right. And I'm just like, and it follows different people, but at the same time, like, who cares? I really don't. Now, it does look good. It's a 2-part Western. I didn't realize that until just recently or last night. Horizon, the new Kevin Costner Western, looks really good. He's doing it as two chapters.
Yeah.
And this has the look and feel reminds me a lot of Unforgiven in terms of that style of Western. And so you've got Kevin Costner, you've got Sienna Miller, Sam Worthington, Jenna Malone. If that gets the proper promotion and everything else, I think that looks good. That comes out June 28th.
And part 2 comes out in August.
Is that how soon it comes out?
Yeah.
Okay.
It says August. I just saw it. Where did it go? August 16th. So they have it like 6 weeks apart, which will be interesting.
Yeah. It's probably because they're both like 2.5 hours or something like that. So they want to, you want to do a 5-hour movie, but it's a lot going on. So it's kind of interesting doing that. So
I hope they do. Obviously not a recreation of, but the quality and feel of Unforgiven. To me, that is still the number one Western movie of all time. I absolutely loved it.
It was a solid film. The two films came around that time that really epitomized the modern Western was Unforgiven and Tombstone. Yet Unforgiven gave that hard, gritty Western you like. Tombstone took an existing real life basis and told it as it should be told, which is a fictional story. The Wyatt Earp movie that Costner did wasn't bad, but it was a little too factual.
Well, for me, I liked Wyatt Earp better than Tombstone, but I know most people like Tombstone better.
Yeah, I like Tombstone because it falls under the Man from Liberty Valance line at the end. When you know the truth, you print the legend. They told the legend more than the truth, and that's where it kind of fit better with that. In terms of after that, in terms of Westerns, there's been a few that have been decent. But one that has really escaped a lot of people is 3:10 to Yuma with Christian Bale. Fantastic film, fantastic Western. It's a remake, and the remake is way better than the original. But the original was done as kind of a B movie Western, very limited budget way back in the 50s. But if you get a chance to see the Christian Bale 3:10 to Yuma, very good. Very good. It's an excellent film on that. And then again, we haven't really good Westerns lately. So this looks like the first good Western in a long time. The production quality in the trailer, again, looks like an Unforgiven style, stuff like that. Going through the rest of we see a bunch of stuff like A24's got a new horror film called Maxine coming out. It's an 85 based movie, which really a lot of these films have to go back into the 80s to have a good film because nowadays people are like, oh, well, they got cameras everywhere. They would have seen something of this and have the jump stuff you want. Again, a lot of just streaming, a lot of small releases. I'm going to zip it through real quick. A lot of re-releases. I think one of the biggest, things going to fail is going to be that Twisters. That just does not look good at all. And then let me see the re-release like Never Ending Story. Again, a lot of re-releases. Deadpool. Harold and the Purple Crayon looks interesting. It'll probably do decent the first couple weeks for a family film. And then we'll die really quick. But yeah. They got a Borderlands movie coming out. It's the first I've heard of that. This is a fairly recent article. So, and then that Alien Romulus comes out in August. The Crow, like I said, just looks dumb. Even the production's still here. They show just looks stupid. I think the problem is they didn't go and talk to James O'Barr. I think he didn't have anything to do with this. They just have the rights to use the character in that. So, but yeah, so that's what I'm seeing for the summer releases. And really, we're not going to have a major blockbuster until Deadpool.
Yeah.
That'd be probably the only one. That one, and then I think the Costner one could do very well. But again, I think the major blockbuster for the summer will be the Deadpool movie. The Will Smith, the Bad Boys movie will do good its initial weekend and die fast.
Well, even like Beetlejuice, it's like a cult classic movie and did well, but I don't think that's going to be $100 million movie.
It probably will. It'll probably end up.
So?
Oh yeah, it'll do. I would say it'll end up. It should be at least 150, but it could be over 200 million, just for the fact that as long as they don't try to kill it in the theaters, which they did with Ghostbusters.
Right.
But I think coming out in September, you're also hitting September, which is also when people are really geared towards Halloween. I mean, Halloween is now all of September and October. True. So they've got it coming through that. So I think for a few weeks, it'll do steady numbers.
Yeah, that's true.
And should do just fine. And plus, there's not much other competition coming out around that time either. So
yeah,
so we'll see on that. But
maybe with the lack of competition, maybe it'll be number one for 8 months.
I doubt that, but
no, I'm kidding.
But it'll definitely do. I think it'll do pretty well. I think it'll be way better than what people would initially expect. But I also think there's definitely, because of the cult classic and the fact that it covers families can go see it. It's not rated R, so that helps there. It's probably only about an hour and a half or so, maybe an hour 45 minutes. So it's going to go. They're going to get more showings, and I think it's going to appeal a lot more to the family groups.
I think the real test for Hollywood is Deadpool. If Deadpool doesn't break 100 million, my prediction is 100 million at the box office is done. No more people can do it.
It'll break 100 million opening weekend.
I think so too, but
because the pre-sale tickets are already selling out everywhere, so I think it's going to be a huge opening weekend. The other thing is we'll be at San Diego. Kevin and I will be, and it's opening that weekend. So you've got the stuff around that. I think that they're planning something leading up to that point. So of course you're going to probably have Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman show up at Comic-Con, probably on Thursday in costume and on Thursday. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not there Thursday. Again, they've released no schedules. We don't know what's going on when and where. It'll be the big Hall H thing. And of course they'll probably just like do a screening right there with everybody. So one is it's like everybody's gonna come out going, this was the greatest freaking movie ever.
Well, and along those lines, Ryan Reynolds understands the fans. And how did he release the first Deadpool movie? An accidental leak of the trailer during San Diego Comic-Con. During the first Deadpool.
Yeah, it was actually just a scene that they tried to put together to sell it, which they ended up reshooting, but using pretty much the exact same scene in the first movie.
Yeah, it was a leak during San Diego Comic-Con, which spread word of mouth huge. So it was a very brilliant move on his part.
Oh yeah, he's smart about that. He knows what he's doing there. He knows how to get it out there. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's not going to be a reveal of something to coincide with the movie coming out that'll be tied to something else they're doing down the road.
I can see that.
Maybe they haven't really talked about hardly any of these new movies coming. We know about some of the crap coming out, but I wouldn't be surprised if anyone will say, hey, because of this, now we're going to go do this. and here's Deadpool joining the X-Men, and it's going to take that a little further or something like that.
Yeah.
Because really right now, their way of getting around things is going to be through Deadpool. And to rebuild what they had, which is telling good stories and getting back to that. As long as that's what they really want to do and not be an agenda based, we don't know what we want to do crap shoot.
Well, and another supposed leak coming out regarding Deadpool. So I don't know if I should say or not. It's rumor at this point.
Okay, but that's rumor. So just a rumor.
Supposedly, Robert Downey Jr. is in Deadpool also, and there's something that's going to happen around that. We talked about before that sorcerer portal that they're jumping through. The speculation is they end up in the final scene of Endgame. Will Robert Downey Jr.'s character not have to die?
I think he will. I think that we may see him, but I think he'll still have to die. And part of it is it would take away from the sacrifice that was given for that. And I think it would.
For the
but they've also said
for Marvel, is his sacrifice more important than their dollars?
but the problem is I think he can still be sacrificed because they've already set up they can pull him from another universe, so they need to. I think that they'll set him up as the Jarvis character.
Well, that's what I've been saying all along, because he has that hologram system he made that he already uploaded his conscience to.
Yeah, and I think that's how we'll eventually find him again. I think he still has to be sacrificed and and that
So I think Marvel needs, and I don't think they're going to do it. I really don't. I don't think they're smart enough to. But nobody cares about Phase 4 and 5 of Marvel. They need to, like, you got the giant statue in the middle of the ocean. They got to undo that. They got to undo all these things.
Yeah,
and you need a way of. I hope they kill the multiverse. Do away with the story. They need Deadpool to break that, and then just move forward on a solid timeline once again.
Yeah, I think they will. I think there's been a lot of this is going to do. It's going to collapse everything and be there. Now, one thing they have been popping up. We're going to have to wrap this up. Is there's talk of a series on Disney. Now they have gone forward with the Ironheart. They have gone forward with Daredevil. And they've always been delayed. But there is a new series that's come up where it'll show Captain America returning the stones.
I've been seeing that. Yes.
Yeah.
Is that confirmed or just rumor?
I think it's more rumor now, but it's been getting a lot of traction. Yeah. So it's hard to say what's going to do what. I think a lot of it is just, they've gotten quiet on everything because they don't know what they want to do because they screwed up.
Yeah, I think I think they have to do a full reboot of the timeline to fix it. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, and if they want to incorporate the X-Men into it, mutants and that stuff, I mean, the Deadpool movie is going to be their gateway to do all that, and to collapse on what they need to bring in. And they've already admitted that Logan is the Wolverine movie that was the last one that Hugh Jackman did is in a separate universe than where Deadpool was. So that ending is still there.
This is a different Wolverine,
right? This is a different one.
They established that in the trailer. They say this Wolverine failed his timeline. Or something like that. And so I think they're trying really hard to make sure you see that this is a different Logan.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to see it because I will be at San Diego, but I definitely will be seeing it after I get home at some point. So when I get back from San Diego, we won't be able to talk about it because I won't have seen it, although I'll probably have heard like half the spoilers by then. So
yeah, that's part of that stinks when something comes out when you're at a Comic-Con.
Yeah, I was like, oh man.
Well, that's why we like Akron. We would go see it that preview night, before the show, so we wouldn't have spoilers. We would know it all.
Yeah, so we'll see. Definitely looking forward to it, and we've actually talked about can we try to find tickets and go see it while we're in San Diego, but it's more time. It's tough to get there, with the way the show is. I mean, on that Thursday when we're doing 9 to 7 at the show. So
plus you have 500,000 people in town who also want to see it. So tickets might be scarce.
Oh, I'm sure they will. It'd be nice if they came all to the vendor said, hey, all vendors after the show today can come watch Deadpool.
As a thank you for your service to our con.
Yeah, they'll never do it.
Free screening. And you get to sit near Hugh Jackman.
Yes, there we go. Everybody likes to be next to Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. So, hey, we'll see you guys next week. We'll try to find something else to talk about. Who knows? Maybe all the same crap. You never know. So, rehash. See ya.